or Facebook.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to God Chat, where we've been talking for the last 5-10 minutes without anybody being there because I forgot to hit the live.
There you
Anyway,
go. Now we're on.
yeah, we're going live. We are almost live. Mr. T just kind of screwed that up.
Well, that's why I interrupted you. I'm like, before you go anymore, you may want to look.
Yeah, let me see if I can streamline this because I had a really good introduction going there, I thought.
You did. It was wonderful,
Yeah, it
actually.
was smooth and it was wonderful, but here we go.
Mm-hmm.
So tonight we're going to talk a little bit about Christianity and comics. It's a subject that's come to my mind because, as you can see in the panel I'm sharing there, we have Cyclopean and he's in a church. And the joke is, doesn't matter, it's Easter. It doesn't matter if you're a Christian. Everybody goes to church on Easter.
Right.
Now, it's not a Christian comic, but there will be little episodes like this where Christianity comes into his world because Christianity, I believe, comes into most people's world one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
And where it goes with that, we'll see. That's the storyline within the storyline within the storyline. But it made me think, what's out there for Christian comics? Now, we've all been in Walmart. We've seen the adaptation of the Bible drawn by people. It looks really cool. It's really thick.
Mm-hmm.
But it's basically like the Bible in comic book form. Okay, that's not what I'm talking about. That's cool, but that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is comic books that are expressly Christian. So I only know really of 3, and I've never purchased any of them. So I'm really speaking from behind. But like here we're looking at Starcross Comics. He has a video up here. I'm going to go ahead and play it. It's about 2 minutes long. So bear with it because I know that's long for a commercial. But these are the indies, and I've done the same thing. 2 minutes is kind of too long, guys, by the way. You want to keep it about a minute if you're going to do a video promoting. But we're going to go ahead and watch this anyways.
All righty.
Because I figure that's a good thing to do. Did I screw it up? There it is, right? Can you see it?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, here we go. Wait. You know what I did? I shared without audio.
Well, that wouldn't be good.
Yeah, no, you couldn't hear a thing, I bet. All right, hang on. Let me pull it back. And this is the pro production from my office. As you can tell, we could use a promoter. Okay, here we go. Okay. Now I'm going to play it. Let me just get down to the play control.
Secret Files 1 through 3 tells the story that the rapture has occurred and millions of people have been removed from the Earth. The new world leader Apollyon has taken control of the Earth's government.
Can you hear it?
With his enforcers, the Watchers, the world has become a very different place. This issue has 2 separate covers for each issue, along with a really great chrome variant. Those new to the Tribulation Task Force, the end of days are upon us, and the soon-to-come Antichrist is on a mission to bring forth the last days before the appointed time. Under a platform of peace, he uses his position in the United Nations to assemble a team of superpower warriors to help him achieve his true goal, the destruction of mankind. The hero Brock, along with the Apostle John, who's still alive, search out the globe's greatest heroes to combat the oncoming threat. Together, they assemble the greatest superhero force the world has ever seen or ever will see. They are the Tribulation Task Force. We've got some great rewards for this campaign, including trading card set number 6, a beautiful 11x17 poster, your own Tribulation Task Force ID card. One of the coolest tiers we have is the original character cameo appearance. Your character can guest star in Secret Files number 2. Your character will appear in the group along with Tribulation Task Force allies. You get a 1-paragraph bio and a link to your social media or website. Plus, there'll be a trading card produced of the team image. Hurry, because there's only 4 slots available, and this tier is $100. We've got some awesome add-ons. We have a USB digital comic collection that contains 13 Tribulation Task Force comics, 6 Starcross comics, and a bunch of extras. There's an add-on tier where you can catch up and get all of our releases in print format. Get Secret Files number 1, Tribulation Task Force number 0, and a bunch of awesome things. Thanks for listening, and be sure to support Secret Files number 1 through 3 now on Indiegogo. We appreciate your support.
Okay.
That was pretty cool.
So that's Tribulation Force. Hang on, let me.
I
get
see
in
that.
here and-
I was very surprised by the art in that. I kind of liked it.
It was high quality art.
Yep,
He's
definitely.
doing chrome cover as one of his perks, which is expensive or somewhat expensive, you know.
Yep. I was going to ask what that was because I wasn't familiar with it.
I'll show you. It's a process where they basically put foil on a cover where there would be ordinarily ink, and it kind of gives it like a chrome like effect depending on the foil that they use. But a few things to point out there: they have a comic that's very strongly based on a Christian mythology, if you will. But I don't think it's mythology. But the way they're presenting it, it comes across more as legend and adventurous superhero stuff.
Right.
And I understand the blending there. I understand what he's trying to do. I think it's admirable, and obviously it's pretty cool because he's done well.
Right.
So that was the first Christian comic I found. Now I haven't read it. I don't know anything about it.
Right.
But like I said, because I don't know anything about it, I figured I'd open my mouth and see if anybody would join in and help us discover. But if not, we do have, the few things I do know about. So I'll present the next one. By the way, if you don't have Tribulation Task Force, check it out online.
Indiegogo, right?
Website. They're on Indiegogo. I know you can find them on Twitter because that's where I see things about them. And I say them, but I mean the whole company. Let me see if I can help here. Because I feel like I'm not doing it justice. Let's see where it's kind of hard to. There we go. Okay. So this is tribulationtaskforce.com. And
very cool.
They have their different issues up, of course, and there's their Indiegogo link. So yeah, you can check these guys out. They have their books for sale, and I don't know much about them. We're going to be checking them out soon. I have a limitation to how much I spend on indies or any comics at a time because of the way they.
What is it listed under Indiegogo, honey?
Tribulation Task Force, I believe. If you just look up Tribulation Task Force, it should come right up. Actually, you know what? It's right there in the link. So let me just click on it. Boom. Here it is on Indiegogo. This is Tribulation Task Force Secret Files, issues 1 through 3. And the art's cool. The coloring is very effective. I don't know how good it is. Here they are. They're funded $3,000 of 201. Or let's see. I think I'm reading that right.
I think so.
It's hard to tell. I don't know what I'm looking at on these half the time. But it's something I think is going to be interesting to check out. Obviously biblically based in the sense that, they're speaking of the Bible, tells of the tribulation period. And yes, I don't even know how to talk about it because I haven't read it, but here you see some cool looking covers, nice coloring. I actually like the top two more. These are kind of interesting too. I don't know how many artists there are involved. I don't know if it's a one-man show or what the team is. I think it's at least I think he's hiring artists. I'm not sure.
Hey, honey.
Yes, babe.
Look at my camera. Look at my picture.
Okay, hang on. Let me flip over.
Isn't that weird? I have green coming in.
You don't have anything coming in. What do you mean?
Well, my little picture icon is green.
No, it's not. There you go. Hi.
No, but like that. Oh, now it's not. Okay, never mind.
Okay.
I apologize.
It looked good to me.
Thank you. I just found them on Indiegogo.
Yeah. Well, I did share it in the screen. Yeah. So that was Tribulation Task Force by Starcross Comics. I want to make sure I get it right. I believe you're looking at it. Let me make sure.
It's on in demand, so people are still buying it. 35. I don't see.
Starcross, yeah. Starcross Comics.
Okay.
Okay, so
That's very cool.
it's a good little a good big project actually. I don't want to call it little. That sounds weird. So yeah, there's that as a Christian comic now. I'm just zipping through some tabs here. Next up, we'll talk about a much smaller guy, but
Mm-hmm.
he's indie based too, and that's what the indies are about, the small guys. So let's hop over to this tab and we can just start looking a little bit. I
Mm-hmm.
believe this guy also has a video, so hang on. We are going to go here. And here we have Cross Comics, which is, I think it's one man show out of Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just recently done a coloring book that I'm aware of.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got some covers. I'd play that video, but he yells in it. But I do have another video queued up. I just have to switch to the share screen.
Well, that's another kind of cool one. The first one, I was really impressed with the Tribulation Task Force, the artwork. The lines are a little thick like you used to do, but the actual artwork, there's a lot of violence in that. I'm quite kind of impressed with that. Hey, Lorenzo.
Good evening, Lorenzo. Yeah, the art, hang on one second and I'll catch up with everything. But the violence, I think, is necessary to be able to reach out and grab the comic book part, fandom. So while I stumble over my words, let me pull up this. Okay. So we're about to see the Starcross comic video, but I forgot to hit audio because I'm being distracted because I wanted to put that in the chat. So people are welcome to join. I'm going to go back again. Stop screen, share screen. Chrome tab and share audio. Praise God. All right, here we go. And we're going to the Canadian Shield. We're going to play this and hang on, folks. Hang on.
Hello, all. My name is Rick Piper, the creator and owner of Cross Comics and all which it entails. Some of which is my characters Electide, the Wiz, Ozona, Insecto, the Flame, Snowdrift. But the one that I want to shut it all off with, that I want to bring it to you today, is the Canadian Shield. He is from a time long ago. He's been brought into the present. He's given a suit with fantastic powers, and that suit is from the future. Thus, where the past, the present, and the future collide, because the suit and him are in the here and the now. So take a read as you look down. Hopefully you will be very much interested. This is a great project to get into. It's not just the birth of a character, it's the birth of a universe, the Crossverse of Cross Comics.
That was pretty good. Honey, you're muted. Oh, there you are.
Yeah. That was Cross Comics, and you can see it's a different style, it's a different take, it's a different level.
Yeah.
But it's indie and it's Christian. At least I assume it is, because the Cross Comics being the name of the company with the cross like it is.
Right.
I don't know anything about it other than what it seems to be apparent. But that was only the second of three that I'm aware of. So the other one, which is really, this is the big hitter. If I was to show you a Christian comic, when I thought about presenting something tonight or talking about this was the first comic that came to mind.
Right. Are you talking about the one you just showed?
No, I'm talking about the one I'm about to show.
Oh, okay.
So I knew about Tribulation Task Force. I knew about Cross Comics.
They're pretty big too.
What's that?
The Tribulation Task Force has quite a few people working on it. I was just looking at it.
Yeah. Well, let me blow your mind, because
okay.
I've had a few interactions with this guy, and he seems pretty cool.
My name is Douglas Ernst, the writer of Soulfinder, Demon's Match, a story about a major order of exorcists, all combat veterans who take on levels of evil that most of the world cannot fathom. For many years, I've worked at a newspaper in Washington, D.C. Sometimes I'm blessed with interviewing guys like Mike Rowe from Dirty Jobs fame or actor Gary Sinise. My true love has always been the craft of storytelling. I've assembled a team of top-notch talent to include artist Timothy Lim and colorist Brett R. Smith to tell the tale of Father Patrick Redder, Father Reginald Crane, and Officer Gregory Chua as they investigate a series of mysterious deaths in Steepleton, Maryland. Soulfinder Demon's Match, with covers by the legendary Dave Dorman, is the book for you if you love the classic hero's journey, tales of good versus evil, and content that explores meaningful subject matter in a way that respects readers and does not insult their intelligence. Likewise, our project weaves mystery, horror, action, and drama into a 56-page, self-contained, character-driven tale that aims to give readers the kind of high-quality content that was once expected from the industry leaders on a weekly basis. Our team is also including 8 pages of bonus material to make sure Soulfinder Demon's Match is worth your hard-earned cash. Thank you for your time as you consider backing independent creators on Indiegogo. Please don't hesitate to email questions to Douglas Ernst at douglasernstblog.com.
Wow.
Yeah. By the way, welcome, Lorenzo.
Thank you.
So we're just talking about Christian comics. We've gone through a couple.
Yeah, I know about both those creators, by the way. Sorry to interrupt.
That's okay.
I consider them both to be friends of mine.
See, how about that?
Rick Piper of Cross Comics. He's a Christian from Ontario, Canada. Can't remember the name of the city.
I thought it was Ontario.
Hamilton? I think, yeah, I mean, that's the province. But
Oh, see, I
I
don't
think
even
it
know.
might be called, is it Hamilton? I'm trying to remember. And Douglas Ernst, he was one of the, he's one of the people who was part of a certain comic book movement early on.
Yeah.
And
you- no, I
I
gotta say
don't want to
though-
go into the whole deal about it, but I think he's
Camera.
one of the people who really who actually had values, who continued to maintain those values.
Right.
So
But
is he would he be considered an indie? I wouldn't consider him
definitely.
indie.
Yes.
Really?
These are
Oh yeah,
top-notch.
he's definitely. He's selling comic books straight off of his website. Like I think he's not like Marvel or DC or IDW. He's got his own
He's indie.
indie
He's
company that
spending
he's
money
working with. I
He's
think it's the
spending money
same.
to get the talent, but he's selling enough books to make it worth it.
I think it's the same company that Tim Lim and Mark. I hope I pronounce this right. Pellegrini.
Yeah,
Not used
you're
to saying the guy's last name. I'm thinking that it's the same company that they publish comics with. Now I'm not sure when those guys often crowdfund their comics. I'm not sure
Right.
when they're crowdfunding it if it's using the same
Printer.
company name, but I think they're selling it. I think after they crowdfund their comics, they might have a slightly different version that they sell on a website. I think it's the same company. What is that? Is that like? Did you know the name of the company?
Oh,
The
Well-
name of the company. Hang on. Go ahead. honey.
Iconic Comics.
Okay, it's kind of comics. Yeah. I think that's.
I'm checking them out now, Chris, because that's
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know I don't know who owns the company. Only that I'm pretty sure Tim and Mark are somehow associated with that. And then Rick Piper, Cross Comics is what he called his company. I don't know if his company's like incorporated or how even the things they'll how they work in Canada. But he's got a second Canadian Shield book. Rick's Cross Comics has a second Canadian Shield book coming out, but he did hire an artist to draw that for him, the second book in the series. So the artwork's going to be a little bit different for that one.
Cool.
Well,
Yeah, if that had come out
Diana, what
earlier,
were you trying to say? Because I missed it.
just that Iconic Comics is something that we need to look into. Basically, they're dedicated for the fulfillment for independent comic artists. They do. They give support, handle printing, marketing, and fulfillment. So
Yeah,
it
when we
looks
start
like
getting more than 30 to 50 backers, we can start looking at that. Right now,
Well,
it
this is
wouldn't
something
happen.
that they've talked to. The people have been talking about it, and like are kind of neck of the woods, so to speak, and are kind of like location within indie comics, because there's all sorts of indie comics, but there's
well, I know
if
they're
you
in
look at like
Texas.
Task Force, Tribulation Task Force, and then
They're all in
put
there.
it alongside like Cross Comics, and then put it alongside Soul Finder, you'll see three very distinct and wildly different books.
Mhm.
But the main thing there that I was looking at is these are Christian books. These are books being made by Christians. Now, as a comic book creator, who I'm Christian, even though I don't, typically use that official title. I consider myself more messianic, but I am Christian, and I'm creating a book where Christianity isn't the focus, but it is in the book. So I was like, we should start looking into some of these now. I feel a little weird. I got to go out and buy these now because actually I'm kind of intrigued by them all.
yeah. So is the Tribulation Task Force, is that something that so who's working on that? Is that
hang on, let me pull it back up because of course I'm closing tabs as I go to keep myself from losing it.
Let's see.
I think Rick might have had that.
He
one of
did.
the people from that project. Yeah, Rick's got a good channel. He's really good at interacting with. He hosts a really good show where he interacts with the chat. There's not all. It's not like. It's kind of like here where not everything's going to necessarily, if there might be people using some kind of. It's not like there's like he's like dropping the F-bomb or a lot, but the thing is there's some kind of risque stuff sometimes going on in the chat.
Mhm.
He's real into puns, and so people kind of joke around and stuff, kind of like how this show isn't like you two aren't like real like prudish or whatever about your faith, and how Rick's kind of the same way.
But I tried to be for years, and every time I've been prudish, Jesus kind of kicks me in the, No.
Rick, I don't think. I think Rick would probably prefer if people didn't drop the F-bomb on his show, but he's not like easily offended because there's lots of people who have
we don't encourage it, but if it happens, we don't necessarily have to shut down the show and sanitize the stream.
Well, Risey, right? Risey's been on Rick's show now. Risey might not. Risey might. Risey tries to not drop the F-bomb, but it's not like Rick's judgmental if Risey. Risey hasn't been on there for a while, but I'm saying I don't think that Rick himself actually would mind as much as Risey might. Mind saying the wrong thing on that show.
But I gotta say, all these covers, this one here, really screams like George Perez to me. It looks really good and clean, and you can see the cross. What's funny, see the guy with the shield and the cross. I think every Christian dreams of that guy because I had that same guy, a variation of him with the shield and the breastplate of truth. You know what I mean? You put it. Didn't
Constantine dream of that guy? There's a shield and a cross and. Well, by the sign you shall conquer. Like he supposedly had a dream or a vision where he saw a cross on a shield, right?
Well, it was in the sky, but it looked like a shield or something. And he said, "In this, some sort of vision, we shall conquer," or something. And then after they won, he kind of cross committed it to Jesus and Mithra, and then eventually it was all Jesus.
Well, one thing I heard, and I don't know, I'm obviously not a historian, but one thing I had heard though is back in those days, if there was like a debate over whether or not somebody could ever sin again once they got baptized. So I think a lot of people would wait to get baptized till they were on their deathbed.
No,
so I'm not sure if he really was worshiping, the soul of the unconquered son or whatever the entire time, or if he eventually,
Yeah, you
You
know, it's
can't,
so
you
long
know,
ago.
started worshiping only, you know,
It's
Hey,
so long
Chris.
ago.
only
That the
God.
fact that we have testimony that he was saved is enough for me. What, honey?
Katie is in Facebook chat. We
Hi,
just want to say
Katie.
hi. There
I
you
can't
go.
see the chat, but
I know.
hello.
I was just telling you. That's why I was telling you.
But that
Thank
that
you.
cover is awesome. You know,
Yeah, that looks really sharp.
one of my pet peeves about like modern day comic covers, and I'll even buy variant covers that kind of that will be this way sometimes, but usually there's not a bunch of action lately, and I don't know if you know Sashi, but
Yeah,
she
yeah,
draws some action covers, and some of her covers don't have action scenes, and sometimes I'll even prefer her covers just because she's so good. But one thing about like the '80s comic books seems like, especially from like the 1980s and earlier, maybe even into the 90s, is they seem to have like a lot of action scenes. Like it seemed like it might be a scene from the actual comic book, or some, actually feature something that goes on in the. It might not be a panel from it, but it would actually relate to what happened in the comic book. And that kind of like what that reminds me of with that Tribulation Force is they're like all flying through the air, right?
Well, yeah, and it looks like they were heading into a battle, and they all had their
Yeah.
battle kits on.
Versus somebody like drinking a cup of coffee at Starbucks or whatever the Marvel equivalent of
Well, that's what you see a lot of now, isn't it? I mean, they're all
Yeah, and actually, that's not a bad thing. Like when the Hulk's in a restaurant. I mean, not the Hulk, but what was it? It was oh, now I'm blanking out. I'm thinking of Bill Bixby. That was the actor who played Bruce Banner. Bruce Banner, like if he's like in like a couple of frames, he's sitting there, and drinking a cup of coffee, in a restaurant, thinking about some stuff, and then, there's an action scene on the next page or whatever. That's not a bad thing. It's just when it's like 20 pages straight, and that's what it seems to be, is like 20 pages straight of people eating pizza. Have you seen those comics before?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, maybe some people like that stuff. I guess that's
actually,
a different kind of comic. It's just
I really
not an
haven't.
action comic.
I've never really bought one of those. I've seen them posted and people going, "What the heck is this?"
Yeah, I don't buy them
Honestly,
either.
I've never actually had one. So since we're talking God Chat and comics, and I still have one more to kind of let me ask you, Lone Star, is that a Christian comic? Do you know?
Mike Miller's a Christian. I don't know about the contents of the actual book. I've got a was it Lone Star Heart of the Hero?
Yeah.
And
I think what I'll have to do is some research and see if I should mention that as a Christian book. He's definitely a Christian, though. He's quite out with his beliefs and faith.
Yeah. Even homeschools his kids, I think.
What's that?
I mean, I think his kids were homeschooled even before this pandemic.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think
like his kids were always around. The kids are always around when he's streaming, and it's been that way since well before, this recent situation. So yeah.
Since we're talking comics and covers, you want to see a sneak peek at one that might be a cover?
Yeah.
All right, ready? Oh, that's not it. Oh, that's not it.
Oh, wow.
That's not it. Hang on.
That's like a spoiler alert. Wow.
What was that?
Was it the right one?
Looks like Cyclopean was in court.
Oh, yeah. That was Cyclopean in church. That's why I was like, that's not it. Wait.
Oh, he's wearing a Sunday best.
Yes, actually, he was dragged to church by Captain Ora Santos, who takes him to church because it's Easter. That's
a good time to go to church.
Yeah, well,
that's the whole joke. He's like, but I'm not this Easter, but
Cyclopean's like, I'm not Christian, and Captain Ora, who's training him, is like, doesn't matter, you're going to church.
Hopefully, got something out of the experience. I like this though.
So this is a possible rendition of the cover. We don't know yet because I have to get Diana and Jace to sign off on it, basically. But yeah, this is a sneak preview. Thank you, God, for the talent. I got to mention God because this is God chat.
I was gonna say, why are we? Yeah, I'm getting
'Cause we're
confused. It's
talking about
Monday,
comic
right?
books tonight. It's God.
These are all Christian comic books, I think, that we've mentioned.
Right.
Mhm.
And this one here is definitely by a Christian creator who has some Christianity in it, even though it's not the focus.
And I would say about Mike is he is I'm pretty darn sure he put his values into his Christian values into the Lone Star character. Like he's
Yeah,
he's fighting injustice. Like he's actually fighting against like
to be a Christian and have his faith in general.
yeah,
But I
he's
don't
fighting
know
against
that
some
to be a
sort of
fact.
drug, like some sort of drug gang, I believe, like kind of like that whatever that's called.
Yeah, he got in trouble. Didn't he get banned from Kickstarter for putting?
Yeah.
So
People have problems with Indiegogo sometimes because of the I think on either of them, if there's something depicted, somebody was telling me, some comic book creator was telling me that something's being depicted on the cover of the comic book that could be like kind of interpreted in some sort of negative kind of way or whatever. Like there's too much violence or whatever. They could, either one of those places can, or sex or whatever, they might.
Well, I've seen
get
Indiegogo
upset.
for people to censor stuff, and they've turned
Yeah,
it into
yeah.
sales pitch. Like they'll put a bar over a girl's butt and say censored by
Yeah.
censored by
The actual book
Kickstarter.
doesn't necessarily need to be censored, but the image on their site, it might have been a similar thing with Kickstarter. I don't know.
Yeah, well, they'll even play it up. They'll be like, too hot for Kickstarter. And there's a bar over
Yeah.
girl's boobs. And it's like, really, you drew boobs, okay?
Yeah,
But
it's too bad though that because I don't think Mike was promoting hate or anything. I think he was just
right. No, I don't either. I think he was just giving a realistic story.
I think it
And
was
it
like
kinda-
it's kind of like how sort of like Batman fights. Batman might have to like fight some sort of drug gang or something in some issue. I don't know.
You know what the difference I think is, and correct me if I'm wrong, maybe I'm paranoid, but I wonder if it doesn't have anything to do with the fact that they know he's a Christian, so they look at it like he's not just diversifying or making up bad guys. He's a bad Christian attacking the M13 people, and they turn.
I'm not sure. I wonder if somebody reported it or what the deal is. But the deal, but I don't want to start like conspiracy theories or whatever. But the whole thing is that I think that was supposed to be kind of like I think he came up with a character when Steve Rogers had become like one of those bad World War II guys and or had always been a Hydra agent or something. Like he was like I don't remember. It was some stupid storyline for Captain America. And so I think Lone Star, I'm trying to figure out if that's like kind of a Texan kind of thing, but I think he's trying to come up with some sort of like an alternative to Captain America, like an indie alternative. Because I think what he might have been trying to do is get something kind of in the indie scene that could maybe compete against Marvel or DC.
Well,
which is an interesting idea. I mean, I'd rather have something, quite, different from Marvel or DC. But there were a lot of people who, including myself, though, who did back the book because I thought it was an interesting concept, especially back when they had taken Captain America and ruined the character. At least Steve Rogers, they ruined.
I think they've ruined the whole thing iconically. I mean, I don't know. They have the Captain Americas now, where everybody's a Captain America, and I get it. They're trying to spread joy and unity. But hello, Captain America was one skinny white guy who got pumped up by a super serum in a freak event, and that was who he was. Like I know they make him into this like he's the spirit of America. Well, then Captain America should be quite conflicted, not leaning all the way left or all the way right. And part of the beauty of him is he can sit on the fence and demonstrate the struggle of the nation. But
the beautiful thing about the wonderful thing about this, even when there's like arguably like bad things happening, sometimes good things can come of it, which seems like this. It's really the big two kind of dropping the ball story wise. And as far as a lot of things, I guess it really opens things up for indie creators.
Hopefully.
Because it seems like there's just so much. There's so many, and I think people really stopped by. A lot of people had stopped buying just mainstream comic books years ago, or they support the ones that they like. Which, and they, there's. I've heard there's several good comics out there. I can't remember which. By the big two, I can't remember which ones are worth reading, but
The ones
I've heard some like good stuff about it. I just found that there's so much indie stuff that I
we're only talking about the ones tonight.
I haven't really bought any thing from the big two in like a couple of years now.
They don't make God books, so to heck with them.
Well, there you go. Yeah, so
on,
that's
on
the
Monday
thing.
night. On Monday night, I'm like, yeah, they don't make God books, so forget them. But, like maybe some night we can invite Doug on, or is the other guy's name Robert?
Rick.
Rick, thank you. And talk to them a little bit about it, because I'm curious, because we're stepping into that arena. I know where I'm headed with Cyclopean, and I know that I'm interested in seeing how the world treats them. I see good sales for Doug, and Tribulation Force is doing fine. But I'm wondering, is it a real genre? Are they successful, or is it like so there's always the possibility that there's one rich guy in your church who's buying like 100 copies to get you over the top, like is there a real market, or is it just, what is it? So like, I'm just curious about all that. A Soul Finder would certainly suggest that there is a market, at least for a well-written product that has God in it, but not necessarily, like my rabbi, I asked him one time what I should draw, give me an idea. And he wants me to draw the scene in the Old Testament where David basically gets naked dancing around the Ark of the Covenant, right? And I'm like, okay, but I still haven't done it because I'm like waiting for God to give me the right vision.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm like, how am I going to illustrate that? And ultimately, I'll figure it out, but I still haven't tackled it because I've done some character sketches, and I'm like, I'm not ready to draw ancient Hebrew characters yet. I want to be accurate if I'm going to draw them historically, and it's a really tough draw for me because
it's like trying to like measure up to Michelangelo or something.
Yeah, in a sense, I at least want to make sure that when a Jewish man looks at it, they know that they're looking, what they're looking at. Oh yes, that's the Jewish king. I understand. There's the priest. Like I have to get the whole, that thing on their chest with all the stones and stuff that they had, the priests. I got to make sure that I have that right, and I got to make sure if they even wear it. I'm not even sure if they wear it out in public or if it's just in the temple. There's so much little detail I need to get before I start working on that. But I am working on this. Can I look at that again, honey?
Good plug, honey.
Can I look at it again?
Sure.
For a split second.
No, I actually am very proud of this. I just don't know if it's good enough for a cover. I have a couple of other sketches that I'm working on, but I just, like with the finish line right there. And this, by the way, actually represents a real scene in the comic,
awesome.
with a real race that happens in the comic. And the two people on the right there in the background, those are actual people that were at the race.
But are you sure, like maybe you could just be taking a selfie, like in the bathroom or something?
Yeah. Hey, honey.
Hey, what?
Did we win?
Did we win what?
Weren't you scratching a ticket? Was that what that was?
No.
Oh, darn. I was hoping I could hear it.
No.
No?
Nope. I'm here.
I know you're here, but it sounded like you were scratching a ticket.
I was scratching my fingernail. I had stuff underneath that.
Darn, my ears are weird.
I know. They are weird.
She pops on, she pops off. That was kind of cool.
That was kind of cool.
Yeah. Do you have any verses or scripture you want to share tonight? Because we've done basically, so Lone Star was the only other Christian creator that I could think of off the top of my head. Now, there's a brother named Seven on Twitter who I know is a believer, but he's not creating a comic that I'm aware of. And, there's other Christian creators is my point. I'm not fully aware of them all.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm more interested in the comics that actually dive into segments of Christianity, but I'm also interested in the creators. I'm just curious what's out there.
Right. I don't think you've ever looked in this direction before.
Not too hard, like usually, okay, so I've seen a lot of small comics that were done in churches that kind of come and go. But these actually seem to be at least creator driven and supported, where it's not like just I don't know, like a chick track that somebody put together that was more sophisticated,
Right.
A lot of one-shotters, things like that.
Right.
But these guys are putting things together long term, like multiple copies and stuff. So I'm just curious how that's all working, how it goes. It's a different market than, say, Comicsgate or War Campaign or Marvel or DC or Image or any of the other comic publishers. So, like, how does that all work into it? I know one of the challenges I'm having right now is I'm getting so hyped about Cyclopean, and yet this is definitely geared towards the younger market again, Not that adults can't enjoy it, but the level is PG-13.
Right.
So that means, don't expect F-bomb, and there won't be any, nude flashes, but there will be a lot of character building and excitement. And
we don't get to see Cyclopean's accessories or what?
So in the first
That's a good one.
in the first issue, I can promise you that he does do a little skimpy modeling, but it's not in a sexual fashion.
What?
Diana knows exactly what I'm talking about too, don't you?
Uh-huh.
What does he do?
Okay, so this is a sneak for you, me, and Diana, and the 2 viewers that we have right now. But at one point in the book, Cyclopean is being measured for his outfit, his costume, and he is made fun of for Diana. What is he made fun of?
His whitey tighties.
Yes, he's standing there in whitey tighties.
Oh, okay.
And he's being measured from the arm socket to the wrist. You know how the seamstress guy or whatever.
Yeah, he's wearing some sort of funny type of underwear.
Well, he's standing there in whitey tighties, which are basically men's briefs.
Oh,
but Diana, my editor, was so enamored with the term whitey tighties that I ended up taking out "I can't believe you're standing there in briefs" to "I can't believe you're standing there in whitey tighties."
Because you got to say whitey tighties. Come on.
Yeah, that sounds better.
Right,
I don't
the
know
briefs.
why.
I'm like, briefs.
It's entertaining.
Yeah.
Well, I have to tell you, as a writer, I was like frustrated, but I gave to my editor because that's.
Oh, I think it's.
Thank you.
It may very well be, but as the writer, I'm always like,
Oh,
what
he
do you mean
argues
you
with
want to
everything.
change
I
it?
try to recommend it.
Was he supposed to be wearing pants or something instead of just underwear?
Uh-huh.
No, he was
Okay.
being measured totally. It was like he was getting his thighs measured, his ass measured, his
Yeah.
abs measured, the chest, all that stuff. So he's standing there like the only thing that's covered, of course, is his, naughty bits. So he's got his underwear on and naughty bits are covered, but you can see his abs and his chest and his arms and his legs, his knees, his ankle. I think there's some toes in it too. I'm not sure if I drew it better.
That was
So
funny.
that's kind of that's always kind of entertaining. I think they I don't remember if they showed SpongeBob in his underwear. Or what. There you go, SpongeBob, the Antichrist,
Yeah.
allegedly.
At one time, I think he's been resuscitated back to child.
Well,
icon.
there was that movie where they had that. I think they had some sort of cross-dressing scene in there that where I think Patrick was wearing a dress or something, and that upset a lot of people. And maybe that's what led to all that.
That was kind of like social net or social programming way back then. Today, it's so advanced that it's almost commonplace to see, the minority of less than, say, 5 to 7% displayed as if they were, 80% on media.
Well, I think with Patrick, it's probably done for comedic effect, like Corporal Klinger. Rocko's Modern Life was a little different in that they had a trans character in the movie version, the cartoon. But actually, I thought that cartoon, I thought that movie was actually quite good.
But think about
really
this.
all that
Every time,
political. I mean,
every
despite that
time the
character.
media has introduced a really liberal, non-godly stance, they first present it as comedy. Like when they did, black people making money, it was the Jeffersons.
So are you saying that they were trying?
I'm
Well,
saying
wait a
it's
second.
weird.
That's a
I'm saying
bad.
that
Is
in
that a
all
bad thing?
good-
Black people making
I'm
money?
saying, no, but what
I'm
I'm
gonna have
saying
to
is that,
disavow.
what I'm saying is that is how they approached it. They
But
presented
what I'm
it
saying is
to-
Bugs Bunny wore dresses, and I think
oh yeah,
Patrick's
but
kind of on
that's
par
what
with
I'm saying.
Bugs Bunny.
The liberal arts have always come. They come first through comedy, and then they start ramping it up. Like Liberace was never really taken like on the level of, say, being a gay musician. He was taken on either as a very classical pianist or someone they made great fun of.
Who are we talking about again?
But now he's talking about Liberace. Like I think there were gay
How?
people. I think
What I'm
he wasn't
trying-
the
what I'm-
only gay
No, what I'm trying to say is
musician or.
the media, particularly with kids, will bring in things as comedic.
Oh, I don't think people really. I don't think he was out of the closet. Oh,
What's that?
I don't think he was out of the closet, and he was the one like choosing.
Oh, Liberace?
Yeah, was he?
Oh no, I think he was totally out of the closet, but not officially. Like anybody who didn't know he was gay, like I was 3 and I knew he was gay. Like he came
really?
on TV.
Okay.
Yeah, he came on TV and like it might have been my mom and her boyfriend at the time going, "Hey, I think he's gay." But like I totally knew he was gay growing up. I'm like, yeah, Liberace's totally gay. You know who got me was what was his name? The actor Rockwell. Oh, Rockford. I don't know. There was some guy.
Rock Hudson.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's the guy.
there's been. I think. Well, Dr. Smith, the guy who played Dr. Smith on Lost in Space, was gay. Yeah, there's. I think the theater's long been a place.
But remember now, back then though,
it attracted gay people for whatever reason. It could even go back hundreds of years for all I know. I'm not saying that's definitely the case, but it's possible.
No, but back then it was completely different. Now it's gotten so different that like we're dealing with things that we never thought we'd see in the public arena.
Well, I never would have thought that I would have seen a trans character in a Rocko's Modern Life.
No, and that's kind of what I'm saying. But to go back to God for a second, Jesus said it would be like in the days of Noah, and really, I think we're there. So when we talk about comics with Christianity in it, it's almost like, gee, could you pick a more harder thing to get into? Because right now it feels, at least in this country, maybe not worldwide, I don't know, I only live in America, but right now it feels like Christianity is definitely going down like a ship in water. It's gotten too bloated. There aren't enough true believers, and I'm not saying that to offend any believer.
But well, that's the nice thing about this indie comic scene, and that you can, in crowdfunding and stuff, is that you can create your comic books and put the message that you believe in the stories. I mean, which if Marvel and DC, if they just continue to, if they had put out, like actually been like, and I want to be careful. I don't want to say that they're not all. Some of them are very competent storytellers and artists and whatnot.
I think most of them are. The thing is, though, and this is a product of our generation and our time, is everything seems to be propaganda and agenda driven now. When it's in the higher up you go in the media levels, it's like you have to make sure you check boxes of certain kinds as you go higher. Like you can get away with more in comics than you can in TV than you can in movie, unless you're going to go rated R. But it better be woke these days, or else you're going to get jumped on. You better.
Yeah. Some of it though could be bad writing when they're beating people over the head with it, and some of it is good. Is maybe writers who know better. But my point is that it's really opened up the door for people, for creators like yourself. Because hardly anybody's buying that stuff. There's a lot of people buying manga. There was one manga that out. The one manga out, I can't remember which one it is.
Demon Hunter. Yes.
It also all the with Marvel and DC combined.
Preacher Brother, yeah. The whole Western market. That one book throughout, I think it was 2020, sold something like 100 million copies, which was more than the entire Western comic book, or $100 million which was more than the whole entire Western comic book group of DC and Marvel at that same time period.
I wonder what the plot of Demon Hunter is. Is it like a godly message, or if it's like a Japanese thing, it's probably got
knowing
well
manga,
to be
probably
something quite
not.
different.
Yeah, Japanese are interesting because I've seen God stuff in some old Japanese, but it's never like the Christianity we understand. And I've never delved too much into it, but a lot of the stuff I've seen and read has had nothing to do with Christianity. It's just good, silly, fun adventure. And the comic book companies, I think, have forgotten how to do that. Now it's all, okay, we got to have this character, we got to gender swap and race swap that one and change this one sexual. Why? Just have fun, when did the X-Men have to get so darn serious? They were dealing with things that were on a much larger level, like general, prejudice, not, the nuances of whether or not Cyclops and Wolverine are going to sleep together.
It's
whether or not Iceman's gay or.
But that's really, I think the fact that had happened really. It led to a bunch of these channels on YouTube, which a lot of them were people and continue to be people just complaining about things, but there's also opened the door for people to create their own comics. And I don't know if I would have ever known about this had people not been upset with the mainstream, which I never was really into as much in the comic book form. I did buy Marvel and DC for a short time. But I used to, there's a lot of animated shows and some live action movies and stuff that I've, seen over the years. I grew up, with like Christopher Reeve as Superman.
No, but when I was up in, I guess I could say up until 30 years ago, I called Marvel like it was the Bible. I lived on Marvel. Stan Lee, Chris Claremont, John Byrne, they were like my heroes. Then in the 90s, at some point, right after McFarlane and Lee left for Image, I kind of lost interest. Everybody went with that extreme style, which I just, and I never went back until about 4 years ago. I think Diana got me a bunch of Marvel comics in a bag. It was like $3 for $1 or something. It was more than $1. But I had Captain Marvel 1, it had Iceman 1, and it had Guardians of the Galaxy. And sadly, all 3 comic books failed to meet my stink test, my quality test, whatever you want to call it. And that made me, now I'm going to sound like Liam Gray, but that made me go, somebody needs to make comics and save the industry. So I started drawing, and as I got into it, I realized, there's already like 1,000 awesome creators.
So I think it's actually been like almost like a blessing in disguise, or maybe it's an example of how God can take something like a bad situation and use that for something good, So I'm really like I just commented earlier on this, like Powerpuff, girl. Somebody saying that the Powerpuff Girl, the whole point of was that the original was that they were like kindergartners who were like with superhero powers, and now they're adults. Somebody was mentioning that they went and they redid a pilot, and it's like, well, I guess it happened with Star Trek. Except for, I'd say I'd still take Star Trek without, with Pike instead of Kirk over this reboot, because at least they had something that could have turned in, who knows, that could have turned into a good version, good show even without
Powerpuff Girls.
No, well, I'm saying it's Captain Pike as instead of Captain Kirk. Had the original pilot of Star Trek didn't have Captain Kirk and didn't have Bones, McCoy.
Right.
But I'm saying that but I'm saying that was an example of they went and did a new pilot. Because that's one the network didn't like, and it had Captain Kirk and McCoy. I'm saying, it's not unknown, it's completely unheard of for, there to be a second pilot to a show. It's I think Star Trek actually had a premise to it that was worth, sticking with. I'm not sure about this Powerpuff Girls. But it doesn't really matter because we got somebody can make their own like Powerpuff Girls type comic, with their own, characters. maybe make it, based around, Christ centric or whatever, they wanted to.
All right. Well, I'm going to switch gears now, gentlemen.
Okay.
Enough Powerpuff
Yeah,
ladies.
we're
and
almost at 9:00
stuff like
anyways. So
that.
did you ever
Yeah, just contrasting,
So, no, I know.
KFC
Psalm
Jesus.
139,
Yes.
7. Can you post that? Because I don't think I can.
Wait,
I'm working on
KFC.
What's that?
I'm working on it, baby.
Okay.
I'm working
Hi,
on it.
KFC Jesus. Welcome, welcome.
Dun, 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 dun. Do you want just that verse?
What did I say?
Psalms 139, 7.
Yeah, 139, 7. I'm sorry, 7 through 12.
Oh my.
hmm
Okay, hang on.
I'm gonna end with this.
Ooh,
I don't know if you can post it all though.
why not? 139, 7 through 12.
Yeah.
Hang on. I'm catching up with you now.
Yeah, it could be that it could take up too much character.
That's okay. That's why that's why I'm here. Like, okay, guys.
Or it could be highlighted on screen.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
That might work.
But I wanted to if you can't do it, it's cool. Damn.
That's
Psalm 139, 7 through 12. Christopher, do you want to read it?
Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go to the heavens, you are there. If I make my bed in the depths, you are there. That's Sheol in Hebrew, by the way. If I rise on the wings of the dawn, if I settle on the far side of the sea, even there, your hand will guide me. Your right hand will hold me fast. If I say, surely the darkness will hide me, and the light become night around me, even then the darkness will not be dark to you. The night will shine like the day.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Darkness and light are alike to you. You forgot the last line.
Well, it's not there. I'm trying to get back so I can. Well,
That's
hang on,
okay.
look. There we go.
Ha ha ha. There you go. Like, there it is.
Hang on.
Wasn't that
For
awesome?
darkness is as light to you.
Isn't that awesome?
It
He's
is.
everywhere.
Yes.
I just wanted to let everybody who is watching this stream know that he
So-
is everywhere.
when it says the depths. So that would be Sheol in Hebrew, or like Hades in Greek. I mean,
Well, I just well, no, I just remember. I read a lot of Psalms in the Tree of Life Bible that uses Hebrew translations in there, like when appropriate.
yeah. So the depths, that's
Sheol.
the world of the dead. Then
Right. Well, Sheol, and it represents grave, the world of the death.
where Jesus
like-
went when
Right.
when he was crucified, and then he
Right.
conquered.
And it's traditionally
Conquer death.
called these days, but it was a lot more complicated than that.
Yeah, because there's also like Hannah and what was it?
Well, and-
There's a lake of fire, and there's
Well, I mean,
a bunch of
you're
different
looking at,
terms
like,
used in.
but when you're talking Hebrew, it gets really simple when you look like at everything that everybody attributes to that. Like I've seen people, well, Jesus went into the fiery pits of hell, and it's like, well, now you're mixing Dante Inferno with the actual Hebrew, with the actual Greek. Like they get it.
Yeah,
all.
yeah. Like, I think there's like Tardis, which
And
I
it's-
think is where the Titans were thrown in Greek mythology. I think maybe was it John the Revelator might have used that. I'm trying to remember.
I don't know if he actually used it or if it got translated into it or what. But yeah.
Oh yeah,
but-
yeah. It depends on what language he was even
So
writing in the
Diana,
first
what were
place.
you gonna say, babe?
I was just gonna say that, like, I think it's always cool when people start to look at the words and the structure of it. And when I read that, I just makes my heart happy. Just
Aw.
because it just reminds me that he's always there, no matter where I go or try to go. He's always there.
Yeah, it's kind of like swimming underwater.
So
There's
it's
water
not,
everywhere.
yeah, exactly. It's 9:03.
And that was a good way of tying things together, by the way. Sorry to interrupt. It was like because I had just been mentioning that maybe even like when there appears to be well, there's something going wrong with the comic book industry, but then both Chris and I had found all these indie comics because of people were tired of the comic book industry, or you got into creating comics again.
Yeah, you
because
know
of
what?
rights.
It's funny because most of that stuff that I've been exposed to over the last 3 years, be it creating or buying indies, has all been related to frustration over 3 stupid Marvel issues.
And I guess it's just like God can be there, even when it seems like God's always present, even
Well,
God
the
can
funniest
turn a
thing about
bad thing
God,
into, or use a bad situation, like the crucifixion is a pretty bad situation, and somehow it was turned into something positive.
yeah, well, God is just that way. He's just cool. So listen, anyways, I am going to get off of this thing because it's God chat. It's Monday night and we have work tomorrow. But it's been a blessing talking to you guys about God and comics, and hopefully we can revisit this. I think that I'll inspire my wife to at least let me pick up a couple of these, and maybe we can do a couple of Christian comic reviews or something of that nature, because I kind of like the topic. I like tying the two of them together.
Yeah, Diana did a beautiful job, with that Bible verse too. That's
Yes.
You guys are
Well, she
funny.
can pick them, man. She's good.
Listen.
it all kind of ties together.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, she says, listen. What?
Well, it does all tie together. That's why I picked it, because we are talking what some people might think more worldly topics, but really, he's everywhere. It's just what we do with it,
And there's so many people, they just go and I'm tempted to do this. Sometimes I'll catch myself just complaining about stuff. It's like, well, wait a second. There's all sorts of great, comic books I have sitting on my table that I, or they look like great comic books, but I've been kind of behind on reading things. Yeah, I'm dyslexic and stuff. It's like I don't even have to worry about what some big company, some multinational corporation put out, because they got all these comic books to choose from. That
right.
I'm actually overwhelmed by the amount of stuff that I see out there that looks good. I can never possibly back every book that I think is
right
going to be great, or read every book. There's more comic books than I could, they're probably more good comic books out there than anyone could ever read in their entire
that you could
lifetime.
ever read, right?
Yeah.
Hey, that's
the same thing with movies or cartoons or books or music or whatever. It's
right.
There's just so much good stuff out there, and
it's just a matter of finding it.
Yeah, and I appreciate
deep that got lost, and
I appreciate you highlighting some of them on the show.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just really interesting, and I want to learn more about it because it's so easy to draw a girl with her boobs and butt hanging out, or incredibly gory story, or there are certain genres that you can hit that'll sell decently.
Right.
But the Christian one, wow, that's like, okay, let's find out more about that. That's kind of neat.
And they really, honestly, they look pretty decent.
Yeah.
Like when you were flying through them and stuff, they looked pretty good. So.
Well, I wasn't flying through them, honey. I actually let them play their videos out. The thing I want to point out, though, is did you notice that the difference between Soul Finder and Tribulation Task Force, if I had anything critical to say, is Tribulation went about a minute too long, where Soul Finder knew where the commercial sweet spot is, and that's not a big criticism. That's just I did it too, and I'm learning. Anything over a minute, you're taking a real risk of losing your viewership. You want to get them from beginning to end,
Yeah.
And you learned this.
Video. What's that?
The hard way, and you've learned this the hard way.
Oh, I learned this, by having many people laugh at me and say, "Why is your video 4 minutes long?" Because it's so cool. No, it's not.
Well, I never can remember when to actually watch your show, because I see the get an announcement. I'm like, is there going to be like a half hour of videos like the Trash Compactor show? Or
I stopped doing the half hour thing because, frankly, that's what everybody was all confused and everything. So it's like, all right. In my head, it's fun to watch all these videos over and over and over again, but nobody else. So
they do that with the Trash Compactor show, and somehow they get away with it. It's just
well, their stuff is like, it's all meme style funny. My stuff was just straight, hey, these are comic books that I saw advertised that I like, that I want to share with you.
I understand though, like apparently it gives people time to show up, and I understand why. Yeah. I mean, I can
Well,
understand
I'll be
it's
honest,
a
Mr.
good
Yanafondu-
idea on paper, at least.
Well, whoever Mr. Yanafondu is, in
Oh,
real
Mr.
life-
Yanafui, yeah.
yeah, Yanafui, he cracks me up, and sometimes I'll be walking along, and like I'll hear his music, his words in my head, yeah, it's like the Aussie song, fun. I'm
Oh
going
yeah,
into-
yeah.
I don't want to go into it, but
Yeah, they're very, very catchy.
yeah, there's somebody
Yeah,
with
they're
great talent behind that stuff.
yeah. So that's the thing is some people don't understand like why I haven't been on there for a few weeks, but why I've been on that show before, and and why you don't catch every show, but why I sometimes watch. It's just there. It's not necessarily that I'm just into all that drama. Maybe I'm more into that than I'd like to think, but there's a lot of talent there as well.
Well, and you guys know me, I'm loyal to a fault. Okay, so when I was, working not for or with, but around Preston Poulter and Co.,
Yeah.
I was very supportive of them, and I still
Well,
hope
guys,
they
I'm
succeed.
gonna get off while you finish this because I'm really tired. I love you
Yeah,
both,
thanks, honey. Yeah, thank
And-
you. Bye.
and I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Take care.
So,
yeah,
I mean, just to finish the thought, I was very supportive of them and whatnot. Trash Compactor Show and specifically Testify have been really cool with me. They've
Yeah.
been really even useful. Testify is giving me some good advice.
oh
so
yeah,
I gotta say, I don't approve of everything they've done or do, and I don't necessarily like the language or all the content, but I think they're just basically good-natured guys. I'm like, when you really get down to it, the crap they pull, they believe they're doing for a good cause, and I'm like, okay, why judge them? It's the same thing with all the
yeah.
other-
My only concern would be that maybe after there's probably a limit to how many videos that people are going to watch about that. I mean, like maybe a year from now, I don't know if anybody's going to care about that orange guy from Australia, is what I'm going to say.
Oh, they probably
And they actually might risk making that guy a little, more relevant than he should be. Or stuff like that. It's like some of the drama. My fear is people might get tired of that in the long run. But there's definitely a lot of good things being done with
Well,
that. The creators being supported on that show.
Well,
Like,
if we're being honest, that is the role, right? Like War Campaign. Well, it's Comicsgate was first, and whatever shows were with that. Ethan's the only one that's really survived, I think, and maybe your boy Zach with his.
well, that's what I'm saying. Is it's kind of like in the long run, people might just tune out. Is my only concern. Not my only concern about that. I don't want anybody to go and like just feel so bullied that they go off and harm themselves. That's my biggest concern. Plus, I think the drama is a good way to get viewers, but maybe not a good long run strategy. That said, there's a lot of creativity in that
Eventually
show.
that'll turn on you if you're all about the drama. Eventually, drama's at your doorstep, and then
Yeah. That's really the downside of that. But I would like to say that there are a lot of creative people involved in there, and I think the other people really are, just trying to have fun and just I mean, one of the things about CG, and I don't think everybody necessarily. I don't know who uses that term or who doesn't. Well, I mean, I know George and Asmat. I know that they've still used the term, or I'm pretty sure they do. But the thing that has really attracted me to CG in the first place was that they were having like this the people were putting on these shows and presenting comic books in an entertaining fashion, and just doing stuff like where there was like EBS. He used to have some really. It was fun to see like these different comic book creators, and they were kind of like almost kind of playing these different roles, or they're kind of like larger than life characters, and that was a lot of fun. like, or he'd go out and he'd play the keyboard, and he'd be singing like these kind of silly songs, but he'd also have like these videos in the early days, maybe even before he joined CG, where he'd go off and he'd go and do these IRL. He does some of these IRL streams, but he originally used to show like, here he is going to the comic book store, or here he is here you can buy these art supplies that the comic artists use. And you can buy that in your local arts and crafts store, and it's super cool. That got me really. EBS was one of the people who really got me into comics, even before I think he was even officially Comics Gate, before he even joined.
Hey, I gotta go, bro.
Yeah, I'm rambling, but
I gotta go.
But I do think that the Trash Compactor show is kind of a fun way to get people into hobbies, is what I wanted to say. I didn't want people to think I was just crapping on them or something, because it's easy to criticize.
But listen, so like we're on again Wednesday night at 8:30, and then you have a show Thursday at 8, right?
Yeah, 8 Eastern.
Yes.
Is it 5 Pacific?
I don't know what it is Pacific, but
5 Pacific.
So
I say that, but a lot of the people on the show are in like Central Time Zone, which I think is.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about it here. The only people watching are like, my aunt or something. So anyways, guys, God bless you. We'll see you next week.
Hey, God bless everybody.
And Thursday on Lorenzo's show. And yeah, have a great week. We'll talk to you later. Okay.
Take care, everybody.
Yay.